Hi people, welcome to Blue K Jazz Dance. I'm going to talk about dancing the spirit of jazz, discovering having dyslexia and being proud of the fact that I had dyslexia for 41 years, unknown, and I gained access to university twice, into higher education twice, despite me having dyslexia. What I need to tell people, first of all, I was diagnosed in primary school as a slow learner. I was written off as a person who didn't have any intelligence. You need to know that. This gentleman here is my teacher, Mr. Roy Blackman, came into my life at 8 years old. He told me, look, Mum, the school's wrong. What happens is, it's your English language is the problem, why you're struggling. With hard work, you can make it into university. And with that, with him supporting me, I did make it into university. Do you understand? Twice. It's important for people to understand. What happened at the age of 41, I just want to share with individuals, at the age of 41, is when I discovered I was dyslexic. On the way into university, I just did a test from doing a foundation course in IT. The irony of that situation was I was struggling. I got told, or I knew from research, self-help research, that a lot of individuals with special education needs use technology as a way to boost their learning. They found that they could learn better that way, so I decided I'll take that route, and I did a foundation course in IT. And originally was going to do multimedia, but I struggled. The irony of my situation, I struggled with using the software, the computer software. I did a lot of projects. I successfully did the course, but I struggled, so I decided to just do business. Originally I was going to do multimedia and business, but I decided to just do business full out. And the irony in that situation was, if I knew I was dyslexic, I would have basically got dyslexic software, and I would have been able to navigate myself the course, the foundation course, in a better way. But the course, because it was technology, I still got through because it had a lot of creative things inside the course. And I got an A grade in network internet communications, which is quite ironic. Cut a long story short, I found out I was dyslexic when I walked into university, and I did loads and loads of research on it. And I was happy. People couldn't understand why I was so happy. I was happy because what happened was, I realised that I'd made a great achievement getting into university. Because many people got dyslexia, don't get to university. Because what happened, I had a practice called DSJ, Dancing the Spirit of Jazz, pushing the boundaries of my learning and development. Mr. Blackman, one of my teachers, he very much encouraged me to learn my own methods of how to learn as a person with special education needs. My parents did. My parents had special education needs, I was unaware to that. My father had dyslexia, I was unaware to that fact. But they both encouraged me. They taught me the practice of dancing spirit of jazz, push the boundaries of your learning. Basically, just experiment with your learning. Just keep experimenting, finding new ways, reading new books, ask other people. That's what I did as an individual. Yeah. But what I put into place, DSJ, is find an activity that gives you confidence. And so when you're confident about it, you find that you're more resilient. Yeah. In trying to find different approaches, because I went through a lot of failure. I went through a lot of failure, failed a lot of O-levels, failed a lot of courses, but I kept going, and decided I'm going to develop myself vocationally. I led people without leadership qualifications. I managed people without management qualifications, do you understand? So I was doing vocational experiences that gave me confidence. I can learn, but I learned in a different way, in a non-traditional way, not unorthodox ways. When I went into university, it was the first time I ever got support for dyslexia, recognizing that I was intelligent. You have to understand what I'm saying as an individual. And that was really brilliant. I got support. Now what happened when I went to university, what was important was, nobody told me about the health needs that people with dyslexia face. And when I read about it, I was actually shocked, because I'd gone through some of the hardships individuals have. Dyslexia is not just about an inability to read and just read and write. They have challenges in other areas. They have ill health. Their immune system goes down. They suffer from a lot from fatigue. The stress that unless they have an amazing de-stress management program, it can disrail them. You have to understand. Now, I had an amazing distress management program because I danced, and my dancing was involved in wider arts, singing, dancing, drumming. So what I was doing is replenishing my body when it got fatigued. I was rejuvenating my body when it got fatigued. Do you understand? 24/7. I had very good systems of self-love and self-care for myself. Some people don't have that. Now, this article is really, really good article. It talks about dyslexia causes, symptoms, and treatments. And basically, I went through this, and one of the key things was dyslexia is not linked to intelligence. So first of all, when you go in with a teacher, when you're working with somebody, when they know you're dyslexic, they know that you have intelligence. Research shows you that. And what happened was, my special education needs was attributed to having West Indian parents. Do you understand? Right. So it's important, and so that affected how I saw the world at first. But I refused to allow that stigma to stay on me. At first I did. So West Indian people are inferior, this and that. That's what I thought as an individual when I went to school. Then that changed when I met my African Caribbean West Indian teacher, and then I went to the West Indies at the age of 8. I met West Indians. I saw West Indians who were very clever as individual, and that changed me. I saw shop owners. I saw people who own land, etc., etc. So that's one of the key things that changed me as a person. It gave me confidence that I could learn as an individual. I want to say there's a lot of information around the health now, but when I was at university, they did not give me information on health. I studied it. So some of the symptoms of dyslexia I studied, which is important. Learning to read, the challenges that I had. I read through everything. Milestones reached. The child learns to crawl, walk, talk, how to throw or catch things, ride a bicycle later than the majority of kids. That was one of the key things that you get very frustrated at, and you feel ashamed that other kids could walk before you. You feel ashamed other people could ride a bike before you. You feel ashamed that you can't tie your shoelaces. The dad tried to show me to tie my shoelaces, and I couldn't figure it out. I had speech problems, pronunciation problems. I was slow at learning data, one of the key things. So I went through all this because you have to heal yourself. Because what happens is, this was healing for me when I went to Oxford Brookes University. Because they told me about the challenges of coordination, knowing left from right, reversal numbers, seeing numbers in reversal order, spelling challenges for concentration, time span, sequent ideas, autoimmune conditions. This was very important. Dyslexic people more likely to suffer from hay fever, asthma, eczema, and other types of allergies, sinus, nosebleeds, etc. I had all these things growing up, and these were thorns in my side. Do you know what I'm saying? People really need to know. But what I was doing, because I was doing the arts was replenishing me, and because I was pushing the boundaries of my learning, thinking, and development, and people told me, you can't do this. I said, there must be a way. So I always thought there always was a solution. And the irony, they say that's how a person with dyslexia thinks. A confident person with dyslexia says, look, I'm not going to make the barrier I have of my dyslexia stop me from achieving. And that's what I believed. My parents told me that, and that's what I believed in as an individual. I don't care how people treat me, because I did at first think how people treated me. And the beautiful thing about what I did was I changed my circumstances, because I went to school from 6 to 8, I got bullied and violently in an unprecedented way. But when I got sent to the Caribbean, and in the Caribbean I made a decision, I need to change my life. I'm not going to have people ridicule me. I'm not going to allow myself to be ridiculed. So I'm going to learn to pronunciate. I'm going to learn to read in a better way. I'm going to learn in a better way. And I created a character called The Adventures of the Swing Kid. And the Swing Kid came about because I wanted to improve my writing, my reading. Because what happened, every Thursday, for example, we had to read out. I felt bad. People made me feel bad about reading, because I know I was going to make some mistakes. But I didn't want the shame. I didn't want people to laugh at me. Now, when I went to the Caribbean, I was in an all-black community. I was in an all-white school, you see, where people ridiculed me, and the society wasn't really nice. It was an unhealthy environment. But what happened, the same thing can happen in a black school. But black school, what happened was they were more empathetic to my needs. And the teacher made sure that people didn't laugh. But in my primary school in the UK, people allowed people to laugh at you. There's a snigger at you 24/7. So you withdraw and you went more into yourself. So every time you knew Thursday was coming up, it was traumatic for you. And that was one of the embarrassing things. But I decided, you know what, I don't care no more. And that was a really good step for me. And I made a play. I wrote it, I composed, I drummed, I danced. And when they asked me, what do I do in my pastime? I said, this is what I want. This is my pastime. And as a play was a one boy show. And basically, I was sick and tired of not being able to lead in my school, because the good kids got to lead. I was on the bottom tables. The bottom table children never got any opportunities to lead. And that was unacceptable to me as an individual. Anyway, cut a long story short, as a person with dyslexia, what happened was, this was therapy. When I started to read information, when you read information about information that's unknown to you, it's going to come like therapy. You need to understand that. And what happened, I recognized that I had unresolved traumas around my learning, which was very, very important for me. That's what I recognized with dyslexia, because how people saw me. So what happened, what you can do, a person with dyslexia can avoid to do certain key things. So me, I'm not good at reading maps, so I would avoid looking at maps. Do you understand? There's certain key things I knew that I wasn't good at, I would avoid, and I stopped doing that. Yeah? And so what I did at the age of 8 years old, I decided to confront everything I had a fear of. I'm going to confront it. So if I couldn't read a map, I'm going to learn to try to read a map. If I don't know a map, I ask someone to help me read the map. That was liberating for me, and that's when I freed myself. I don't care about what people think, what they're going to think of me. I know, one, it's going to take me longer to learn than other people, and I'm going to ask people, because I didn't have to ask, because I had now a private tutor from 8 years old to 26. He changed my life. My parents changed my life because they invested in getting me a private tutor to help me, and they supported me in my endeavours. What happened, I found out at the age of 8 years old, I was a prodigy sports person, and I played sports for all the different groups in the school. Immediately, that improved my life skills, immediately improved my people skills, immediately improved my leadership skills, immediately improved my management skills, you know what I'm saying? And improved how I saw myself, because I was a person in the school, never got opportunities. Now, I was the only person in the school ever done sports for all the age groups, and I was the best player in football, for example, in cricket and athletics. I was the leading sportsman in the school ever in the history. And I was mature about it, because my father taught me, my brother 3 years older than me taught me, my mum taught me, and peers in my community who were older than me, they taught me. So I had an amazing ability and aptitude for sports. I'd come from the slums. You're hardcore in the slums. You learn sports is like a way out for you in the slums. So we learn you take sports very seriously, because that gives you kudos. Dance gives us kudos. Do you understand? Yeah? Love for music gives you kudos. So I went to school with that type of mindset, and a mindset to push the boundaries of my learning. Like I said, DISJ was about pushing the boundaries of my learning. Learning I was dyslexic was very important for me, because it gave me pride. I dealt with 41 years with unknown dyslexia. I can't tell people how proud I was. And so that was now another tick under me writing my legacy of leadership. I talked about what I had to do with undiagnosed dyslexia, the challenges I faced as an individual, how I overcame some of the key things. The most important thing, from the age of 8, I said, I brought DISJ. My parents told me, try every different type of method to resolve your challenges to learn. You can learn. And so I had that confidence. No matter, I failed O-level after O-level each year. I failed a lot of courses, but I never gave up. And I eventually got into university. I got into university on a course without business. I went on a course to do with business, innovation, and enterprise. That's how it started. I didn't have no qualifications in business, people, but I'd worked owning a business, yeah, or working in the business capacity as an entrepreneur capacity. Then I won an award in university called Commercialized Enterprise. And it was beautiful, because what happened was my mindset, they identified the person with dyslexia has an entrepreneurial mind. The success of the person with dyslexia is their capacity to problem solve the challenges they overcome. They get more self-determined because of the failure that they've been through. And they say, when you fail many times, you learn better ways to not to fail. Well, that's what happened with me. So my story with Dancing Spirit Jazz was like, I struggled, to find who I was, whatever, and I successfully found out who I was through dance. Dance made me have self-care. That's the most important. I need to have self-love, because I didn't have self-love, because I was ashamed of who I was, ashamed of the way that I learned. That all changed. I had self-love and self-care. Dance brought me to self-love and self-care myself. It brought me self-awareness and self-knowledge. I'm a person with dyslexia. I started to self-accept myself as a person with special education needs. I didn't care what people said. Yes, I got special education needs, but I can still achieve. That was the mindset I had. And that happened, mindset was from the parents, but having a private tutor, having the brothers that I had and the friends that I had friends who never put me down. They never put me down, so I could go to them, say, look, I'm struggling, and they would be patient with me. And that's one of the key things that developed me to be an exceptional dance teacher, actually, a dance coach. Because people were patient with me, I'm patient with other people. That's what happened. It was an amazing knock-on effect. And you see that through me. I don't only teach dance, I coach drumming. And what happened is I took it to another level, because what happened, I was dancing and I realized I use dance, drumming or complementary arts for personal development first. It was not for artistic development. Then I used it for professional development, because the careers I wanted originally I wanted to be a barrister, a cricketer and dancer, yeah? But dancer to chill out. Then I wanted to be an RAF pilot, officer pilot, then be in the RAF Red Barons. Then I wanted to be a commercial pilot, because somebody I knew went through that route, etc., etc. Boom, I went through, from 8 years old to 26, 21, I wanted to be in the RAF. But what happened was I was suffering from disorientation and confusion from dyslexia. I didn't know it was that. So I knew I can't be a pilot. Because 3 times I was working in engineering organisations, and what happened was I was using a lathe 3 times or 4 or 5 times, and they caught my hands in the lathe, and then they lost my hands. Do you understand? So I decided no more, I won't be able to be in the RAF, and no more engineering for me, because I didn't know why it was happening. I was getting disorientation, but that disorientation is one of the symptoms of dyslexia. People, they call it blindsided. So I was very happy, the decisions I made, because some people can be foolhardy and try to make out, yes, I can fly. No, I decided, no, I'm not going to follow this trail. I became a dancer at the age of 21, full time, because I was pursuing dance.